Hey guys, so today is Thursday and this is week 12 of the Bible in a Year reading plan that we've been going through together as a church community. And today's readings are from Deuteronomy chapters 10 and 11. We have Psalm 37 verse 27 right the way through to the end. And then 1 Corinthians 10 down to the first verse of chapter 11. And I want to actually just focus on a passage from Deuteronomy 11 today, because I feel like God is speaking to me on a real personal level, but I also feel like this is a message for Anger Church community as we face kind of the uncertainty in the times that are happening due to the coronavirus at the moment. I really feel like God is speaking a message of hope to us as a church. So just to add some context then to what's happening in Deuteronomy 11, like Israel are God's chosen people who were once under slavery. They've been rescued out of slavery and they've been taken into the wilderness, and a bunch of stuff's happened in between those points, but basically they've become restless, they become rebellious, they began to live a life that's contrary to what God has for them and what God is calling them to. And Moses is kind of giving them a pep talk in this verse in chapter 11 of Deuteronomy, and he's kind of saying, look at God's track record. Come back to the commands of God. And we pick it up in verse 2 where he says, consider the discipline of the Lord your God, his greatness, his mighty hand and his outstretched arm, his signs and his deeds that he did in Egypt to Pharaoh the king of Egypt, and to all his land, and what he did to the army of Egypt, to their horses and to their chariots, how he made the water of the Red Sea flow over them as they pursued after you, and how the Lord has destroyed them to this day, and what he did to you in the wilderness until you came to this place, and what he did to Dathan and Abiram, the sons of Eliab, son of Reuben, how the earth opened its mouth and swallowed them up, with their households, their tents, and every living thing that followed them, in the midst of all Israel. And then Moses says in verse 7, he says, for your eyes have seen all the great work of the Lord that he did. And this, I love this chapter because it forces me almost to think about God's track record in my life, to think about all of the things God has done, all of the great works he's done in my life when I face trials and tribulations and face uncertain times. And we're all subject somewhat to this fallen world. Like, we all go through stuff, like we've all been through suffering at some point, or some kind of pain at some point, or some kind of discomfort or uncomfortable circumstance or situation. And you might well be in a place where you're facing that right now, and it's so easy in that place to lose sight of God and how he's calling us to live, and to lose sight of the fact that there is a promised land on the end of all of this. And I feel like God is speaking a real message of hope in this, that we believe in a God who's done amazing things, as Moses is saying to Israel. Like, we know a God who's rescued us from slavery under the Egyptians. We believe in a God who's parted the Red Sea and destroyed our enemies. We believe in a God who's provided food and water in the wilderness. We believe in a God, and we know a God who's taking us one day into the promised land. And I think about Anchor Church in this time, and as a community, what God has done in our church and how many amazing things he's done. And just to list a few, we've had student and children's ministries birthed from scratch from day one, and we've had a circuit riders team come from YWAM come to do some equipping and evangelism for us with the students, and we've had work going on with refugees. We've got a team of people that go out and pray for the sick on New Street, and we've done loads of different things, like Church Has Left the Building, where we've gone out into the community and blessed projects happening at Christmas in the city. We've had God moving powerfully in some of our gatherings, and we even had a couple of guys get baptized just only a few weeks ago, and the list goes on. There's so many things, so many great works that God has done for us as a community, and I really feel like there's a message of a hope here for us as we face stuff, that as we face uncertainty of what's going on with the coronavirus, or whether you might be going through something completely different. Maybe it's anxiety, maybe it's depression, maybe you're in an abusive relationship, or maybe maybe just stuff isn't going right, life's just going wrong for you at the moment, and it's so tempting to choose to feel anxious. It's so tempting to choose to feel fear and to choose fear over what God is saying. But I want to speak a message of hope that there is a promised land, that you are not going to stay in this point. God is coming, and there is a land that He's leading us into individually as individual followers of Jesus, but also as Anchor Church, at the end of this time, as when coronavirus finishes, as Anchor Church, there is a promised land that He's leading us into. There is a time where we are going to grow and we are going to see amazing miracles that God is going to do for us as a church. So if you found this message encouraging at all, why don't you just share it with a friend who might not know Jesus, who might not know anything about God at all, and spread the message of hope today.